This is Mary Tobin on behalf of Oracle at Oracle Open World. I'm here with Senthil Kumar, who is Vice President Marketing for Oracle Financial Services. Senthil, I understand that you're getting ready to release some research on GenY and banking. And what is it about GenY that's different in its relationship with financial services organizations over other generations before it?
Let me first define what size of the population GenY is for banks. Anybody who is between the 14 and 30, we categorize it as GenY because they are most likely to be using the services when they leave home, start university, or they're leaving university, starting to work, or they just started working and then they're going to set up a home. So, or they're married and they want to expand what they have at home. So this is going to change the way, this generation is going to change the way they look at and evaluate and buy financial services products. So it's very important to understand where and what the expectations are of the GenY. And that's why we invested in a piece of research with FMA. And FMA members responded to the survey. And we have some exciting insight into what GenY means to banks and how banks are looking at GenY.
Very good. And what does the difference in terms of GenY and their relationship with financial service organizations mean for banks who are seeking to attract that generation?
Unlike the past generation, the customer acquisition is going to be very different in terms of the strategic outcome for the bank. So you can catch them on different channels or interactive, I would call it the interaction channels, which is not at a branch and it's outside the bank. So it's important for the banks to actually start knowing and participating with these customers who will be their future.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And what types of services or approaches really resonate with GenY?
There are three aspects of what GenY customers do expect, and I'm looking into my own life and what my son is doing right now out of home into college. First is they want choice, and they want to be able to quickly compare it with what is available. And they also want the freedom to be selective for a particular product for that period of time, and they don't want to be loaded with different options of the same product from the same bank. The second aspect is they do expect somebody to react to them much better than the traditional branch approach has been. So there are some very good examples of how banks have renovated or renewed their infrastructure and their business processes to address these customers.
Mm-hmm. And how do banks need to adapt their IT systems?
There was a very good insight from the report. I might be quoting a little early before the release, but it's very good insight that we got. The banks which had a GenY strategy in place also had the ability to launch a new product in a week or within weeks, as I saw in the data. And the banks did not have a GenY strategy. Their associated product launch or release times or manufacturing times were months to a year. So I think the nimbleness that IT brings to the banks is a very important aspect of how you interact with GenY. The second aspect is the customers are talking and a lot of word of mouth happens. And the media, the social media is taking a very important place in determining the success or failure of the product. And actively participating in social media does make a big difference. And that was another attribute of the banks with GenY that was outstanding, that they already had a social media presence, and they were very active promoting, testing, and acquiring customers through social media.
Very good. And what special advantage does Oracle and its products give to banks seeking to court GenY?
I think infrastructure at banks belong to three different types of vintages, or it's vintage, but it's in three different eras. You would have somebody who has the best production system, so the cost of producing or servicing a transaction which is very low, and they excel in that. There is a set of banks who have systems which help them distribute very efficiently, and those type of systems can do wonders for the banks because they can reach out more people. And there are banks who have everything self-contained, but it's all locked and it cannot be opened up and move out to partner with somebody else and work, like a retail brand, for instance. So when you look at IT and how we can realign some of these vintage applications, we can bring everything that the bank needs, starting from how to acquire, how to process, how to distribute, and how to actually report and deliver the results to the stakeholders.
Very good. Thank you so much.